Should you buy a dynamic mic or a condenser mic? This is a very popular question amongst musicians, content creators, podcasters, and voiceover artists. So today we're going to talk about the main differences between both microphones to help you decide which one may be right for your home studio. Starting with dynamic microphones. If you ever listened to a radio show, podcast, live stream, or even attended a live concert, then you've heard this style of microphone. Dynamic mics are known to be very focused sounding, and they do a great job at background noise rejection. This may be perfect if you're trying to record yourself in an untreated room. They also tend to have really high SPL levels, which means they can record really loud sources like drums or even guitar amplifiers. In addition to that, they're extremely durable, which makes them perfect for live applications. However, the downside to dynamic microphones is that they're not as open sounding as condensers. For this reason, they're not going to pick up as much detail out of your audio sources. Something else you should know is that dynamic microphones need to be placed really close to the audio source in order to get the best out of the microphone. If you're doing a podcast, for example, and then you move your head around, it's going to drastically change the tone of the recording, so just keep that in mind. Moving on, let's talk about condenser microphones. This style of mic is known to be very open sounding, and it does a great job at picking up every single detail in the sound. They also tend to have a wider frequency response, especially in the high frequencies, which makes them perfect for recording vocals and stringed instruments like acoustic guitar. Ultimately, it will give you the most accurate representation out of your sound source. However, the downside to condenser mics is that they're extremely sensitive. This means they will 100% pick up on background noise in your room, such as a laptop fan or an air conditioning system. So if you're planning to buy this style of microphone, I highly encourage you to get acoustic treatment. Something else you should know is that condenser mics do require phantom power, which is also known as the 48-volt switch on your audio interface to power them on. But ultimately, which microphone should you choose? In general, if you're somebody trying to record yourself in a completely untreated room, then a dynamic microphone may be your best bet, because ultimately it's going to help isolate your audio source and reduce some of that echo in your room, which will play a huge part if you're a live streamer, podcaster, a content creator doing talking head videos like this, or even a musician that just wants to get the most isolation out of your audio sources. However, if you do have acoustic treatment in your room and you want to capture the most detail out of your audio source, then a condenser microphone like this one may be your best option. I would recommend it for musicians trying to capture singing vocals, acoustic instruments, and even voiceover artists, but just keep in mind, get acoustic treatment, otherwise it's only going to bring out the flaws in your recording space. Of course, you can minimize some of the echo in your work environment using plugins, which is what I'm currently using for this mic, but that is more intermediate to advanced, and so if you're brand new to recording, just keep that in mind. Another downside to condenser mics is that they're very fragile, which means if you drop one, the repair costs may be high depending on the capsule of your mic, and especially when we're talking about tube condenser mics. Moving on, let's talk about some of my top recommendations, but before I do, let me know in the comments section which microphone are you using to record, and also if you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. So for dynamic microphones, if you have a $500 budget, then you just may want to consider the undisputed king of all dynamic microphones, which is the Shure SM7B. This is the mic that Joe Rogan uses in his podcast, Michael Jackson recorded Thriller, and pretty much every live streamer on earth uses this microphone. It doesn't have a lot of top-end boost, which makes it very easy to listen to, and it's just built like a tank. But something you should know is that this microphone is very gain hungry, which means you're gonna have to crank up the levels in your audio interface all the way up to get an okay signal. So if you're thinking about buying this microphone, in order to get the best results out of it, it is highly encouraged that you get something called as a FET head or a cloud lifter, which is going to boost the signal for you and bring down the self noise of your microphone and your audio interface. However, if you only have a $200 to $300 budget, you might want to look into the Shure MV7, which is kind of like the little brother to the Shure SM7B. It doesn't have as much bass, and I don't think it sounds as good, but it is less expensive, and it does include a USB-C cable, which will eliminate the need for an audio interface. Another great option is the Rode PodMic USB, which was just released this year. And the great thing about this microphone is that when you buy it, you can actually download the Rode Central and Rode Connect softwares and use some of the DSP power to shape the sound of this microphone. You'll be able to add an EQ, compression, a gate, and so you can really tailor the sound to your liking. And of course, it comes with a USB cable as well. However, if you only have $100 to spend, then the most popular dynamic microphone of all time is the Shure SM57. This microphone has been used on thousands of records and recorded pretty much everything from vocals to guitars to drums. And so if you want a microphone that's gonna last you pretty much forever, then this may be a great choice. Moving on to condenser microphones, my top 3 recommendations in this channel have been the Rode NT1, which I've done an in-depth review and I've tested both the 4th generation and the 5th generation. The great thing about it is that it comes with literally all the accessories you need to get started, and the newest generation also comes with a USB-C cable. The Lewitt LCT 440 Pure is another great choice, and it's the mic that I'm recording this entire video with. I love the accessories that it comes with, like the leather pouch to store the mic, a shock mount, and a really cool magnetic pop shield, and the Aston Origin. Even though it doesn't have any accessories, it does include 2 built-in features, which are the high pass filter to roll off the low end of your recordings, and a pad switch which will allow you to record really loud audio sources. However, if you have a larger budget to work with, let's say $500 to $1,000, then I would recommend the Neumann TLM102, which is Neumann's least expensive microphone. I absolutely love the sound of it. It sounds very smooth both on vocals and acoustic instruments. However, the downside is that of course it's not cheap and it doesn't come with these shock mounts, so if you want to buy that, that will be an additional cost. Another great microphone would be the Lewitt LCT 540 Sub-Zero. I've watched multiple reviews on this microphone and heard great things from both Mike Delgadio over at the Booth Junkie YouTube channel and Warren Hewitt from Produce Like a Pro. He also has a padding system, so if you need to record loud sources, it can, and it will prevent the microphone from clipping, and it also comes with amazing accessories. I'm gonna leave the links to all of the microphones and all of my reviews in the description below, but if you want to check one of them out, then make sure to click on this video.